friendly fire isn't, you know that. Okay. Any questions? Oh, I don't talk.
Thank you.
I can talk all day. Thank you for attending, Master. It's so good to see you. It's good to see you. It's good to see any master, but especially you.
That's dang it.
That's true. We've never been real thick on the ground.
So many of us can.
Somebody asked me earlier today, don't we do the SCA, in a group of other knights, you know. So it's, evidently, you can wear your belt, your knight's belt any way you want. Well, you know, you have to realize, I'm not a real knight. and bless them, the other chivalry pleasant said, oh yeah, no, he is, don't let him bullshit. He really is. I said, no, I'm a master. That's kind of like a knight with options.
Maybe I missed it, but what material did you guys use for swords before?
Rattan. We were using rattan at that point.
Okay.
It's just that they were essentially, you take the chunk of rattan, you wrap it in tape, you put some sort of rudimentary guard on it, and that's your sword. If you're really a craftsman, you maybe carve down the handle a little bit.
And it was still getting broken that often, or?
Yes, very often.
Oh.
And part of it was,
Did you get the strapping tape treatment? I think
well,
that
the
might
strapping tape helped immensely, but still, we were breaking a lot of swords, and I still maintain it's in large part due to the fact that we had no real technique on delivering the blows. He can tell you all about it.
We snapped a few pull outs today.
Yeah, one or two.
Yep. No, my theory is that we blows a lot of swords because we didn't know how to throw the blows.
I know.
We weren't transmitting the force into the target, it was sort of resonating up and down the one.
I would also contribute that rattan has gotten better for us over the years.
That too, it's got fresher.
Yes.
It has gotten fresher. I'll let you see this one. That's half the show. This Merrill Surveyor's down in the middle.
All of these are before my time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm before everybody's time. That's what's sad. In going through these photos, I found one from that demo that was part of the village of Northwestern Indiana decided they were going to try and have like a regular Middle Ages themed weekend. And they had a big SCA demo, they had a parade, they had horses for royalty.
Wow.
And I came across a photo from that parade that I took because I happened to be working for a newspaper at the time and going to this event. That's how I conned my editor into letting me take that day off. And all of the royalty on that in that parade are now friends.
No, don't eat that one.
God, I feel like a redwood. About Penzing Horse 7, I think.
What was your first Penzing War?
3. That's the 40th anniversary of Penzing. Me and Manfred. That's Albert von Dreckenfeld fighting Duchess Serena. And just Serena, I think. That's probably about Penzing War 2. That's probably one of the first appearances of the Calontier
Shield one?
shield. Okay, this one I've got to explain. I promised I would. Oh, come on, guys.
There we go.
This one,
Is that you and Laura?
no, that's actually me and, oh, that was a good time to catch it. Jeez.
There you
That is actually at the Peoria Community College Renaissance Fair. Northern Illinois. I I was a baron at the time, this was before I won my first crown, just. Albert was prince. Albert was prince or king, but that's Albert von Dreckenfeld.
All right.
Albert was one of the greatest artisans, both for weapons, armor, and just fun shit. He made this spiked pike maul right here. It's on a 5-foot shaft, and he made that. It's all plastic and foam rubber.
A flail.
That's probably why we outlawed it.
This was a demo fight. This was a demo fight. And it was set up, you know, WWF had nothing on us, man.
As long as you yell ANS before they hit the
And
ground.
I was despicable. I was chasing him around. I wrapped it around his leg at one point and tripped him. I was kicking at it. I was doing all sorts of bad crap. And the finale with this was supposed to be me coming up in a big roundhouse, him getting his pole arm up and letting it wrap around and yanking it away from me and then beating me up, chasing me around and beating me up while the crowd was cheering. I did the big wind-up. In fact, it may have been just before just after the shot was taken. And the problem was, somewhere around in here, the ball separated from the chain and went 50 feet straight up.
Oh.
And then came down about there. Literally in the lady's lap, or between her legs. It hit the ground, bounced about 5 feet and went up. Richard of Allsops, who was then the King of Seneschal, walked over, picked it up off the ground, and in an inspired moment said, "My lady, if you like, I can have this autographed and returned to you." Meanwhile, the bad guy's out there with nothing on the end of this stupid plastic chain. Albert's standing there frozen, and we had somehow reversed our positions so that my shield was facing the crowd. I put the shield up in front of my face and said, "Al beat me to death." I put my hand over my face because this was a piece of pine. It was half that length and the rest of it was splinters by the time he was done. He just beat me into the ground and just kept beating me as long as the crowd cheered. And they cheered a long time.
Oh.
But it still is one of my most treasured shots. And I thought I had lost all copies of it. And in digging through a dumpster outside of Lucy Seaman's house when we were going to her estate to bring copies as a service. Yeah. Serena. Her executors, the wife half is the lady whose house she died in. She got hospice care there. And who I remember as a flighty 16-year-old about this period. But she said, "Serena saved my life when I was 16, and I had to take care of her." Her husband, however, he makes his living, among other things, cleaning out apartments after people have been evicted and left stuff behind. So if it's not something he recognizes as intrinsically valuable, it goes in the dumpster. And he threw away a lot of stuff in that dumpster that he then had to go through with a fine-tooth comb, and his wife found out about it. After we pulled out her mother's death certificate.
That's kind of important.
It's like way important for estate resolution stuff, yeah. Yeah, Serena's mother, this is just by way of curiosity, 2 years ago, celebrated her 100th birthday. Serena did not survive her by a year, which is very sad. But that was another high point. That was spoken of for many years, and as you said, it's one of the several reasons we don't allow shit like that. I am proud to say that I have had several regulations and laws passed because of my existence. For a while, the fencing rules had something in it about you cannot appear to be out of control. That was a result of me, I think, doing a dive and a forward roll and coming up underneath Alexander's seat with my dagger in his stomach.
That actually might explain that marshal a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Who evicted Sir Ish from the bridge battle for dropping his sword. That called him dead.
Yeah, come on. That actually is a shot taken in Louisville at one of the old Flame Christmas trains in the old barn, which was sort of a combination theater and party room and everything else. And we would have a
There's something to
weekend-long
say.
event there. Everybody would sleep on the floor. We were all college
Was
students.
that on campus?
That was just off of campus. It was down by the river, not too far. That's
That's
Penzic
fine.
War 7, I think. That's about 1973, 4. It's first appearance of Midrealm Rangers. There's that guy again. Albert von Dergenvelt by Commodore Harrelson. And their twin armor. Look at that shuffle. Yeah.
Just doing what it wants.
It's been a long, long time. It's been a hell of a ride in this organization. And I've said this before, I can do martial arts other places, I can do weapon work other places, I can do metal work other places, I can do historical research, and I can dress up funny. But I can't find these people. Ooh, there's a style that I won't use anymore.
That little strap.
That was called, we called that the tombstone, and it was just that, it was a strap shield, it was not armor. And I didn't use it except as a sword and shield, and it was a time when I just decided, okay, I can beat people if I use a full-size shield. Let's make it so that if I make a mistake, I die. And I got better that way. But just wild times.
Just love to see some of this old armor.
Yeah, yeah.
That was relatively recently.
Well, that's Penzic 40.
Yeah, okay.
That's the opening fight of Penzic War 40. That's about 1981 or 2. That's probably early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. As I said, that's one of the very early Penzic Wars, maybe 1 or 2, which I was not at. That one's probably about 20 years ago. And that would have been the late 70s, early 80s. Again there. In fact, probably the same year, Albert's still king. Middle Kingdom Artillery Corps, it's like the year of the Yellow Ray.
Okay.
That's Albert von Drekenvelt fighting Polydor Haraldson. Two guys that this kingdom can thank for not everybody still wearing Freon tanks. Albert was an innovator both for fighting and for armoring. Polydor was a tremendously good armorer and teacher of armoring, and a good fighter. He was always the bridesmaid, never the bride guy. He probably won almost as many second place in crown tournaments as anybody I can think of. And you notice those two sets of armor look, we call them the twins, the Panther twins. Albert made his set, Polydor immediately made another set that was very similar to it. And then they branched out from there. But as I said before, Polydor had the first helmet on I ever saw that wasn't a Freon tank. It was a pretty crude looking Spangin gun, but it was still purpose built. Albert is also has the distinction of being the first person I ever killed in the SCA at an event. And it wasn't through any fault of mine. It wasn't this helmet. He had a magnificent Gothic salade that he built, jousting style helmet, with a separate bever that clamped up underneath. He wore it for the first time in a fight at a melee that happened to be the first event I ever fought at. And I knew Albert before this. This was, we were going from the terms. And he put this thing on for this melee and found out that he could see out of that 3/8 of an inch slot on a tilt. He later said, I could see you from the top of your collarbone to your eyebrows. And they started a melee. They had a pickup melee of like 5 or 6 guys on the side. And melee tactics in those days was pick out somebody you would really want to fight, and then fight them and kill them. And if you win, then maybe you could go help somebody else. Albert was a pretty hot stick at that point. This was soon before he got knighted. And everybody said, okay, I want to fight that guy who's not Albert. I was the new guy. I didn't know anything about this, and suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, I got to fight the guy with the really good-looking armor that just won the tournament. But he hadn't worn that helmet. And I walked up to him, swung and hit him, and he fell down. And they all moved away from me on the group W bench there. He killed Albert. Albert helped. Albert's helmet helped. But man, I can remember driving 8 hours to a Pennsic war, setting up a tent at 3 in the morning, getting up at 7 so you could start fighting at 9, fight all day, party most of the night, pack everything up the next morning with a killer hangover and drive home. Yep. But we were all 20-something. And that, as I said, I think that has as much to do with the magic of that time as anything. Steve Martin, the comedian, wrote a really telling autobiography called Born Standing Up. And he had a great line in it when he was talking about someone he had known at the time when he was just starting out. And he said, and I remember this person, this person, this person, they were all beautiful. But then we were 20. All of us were beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, you think I would have gotten laid more.
More competition, they were all beautiful too.
They were all beautiful, and I was just incredibly shy.
You shot?
Sometime I'll do a workshop on shyness and not overcoming it, but hiding it well. But yeah, I'm painfully shy.
You, Palomar.
What?
Palomar is extremely shy also.
Yeah. Fortunately, his ego overrides everybody.
Should I cut that out? That's okay, the memory card actually ran out a while ago.
Oh, good, yeah.
I put in another one, but I
don't
just
think
not put in the second
probably
part.
are good. Because, yeah, I have a huge ego, also have a huge ego, but I really am painfully shy. I can flip up the armor and go on stage now. That's how I get through this stuff. That, you guys are cool, so.
Well, yeah, we're all in your lineage.
What?
Not all of us.
Most of us,
That you know of.
most of us.
I have been told that I look exactly like Ragnar, but I'm pretty sure.
You do look unsettlingly like right.
Yeah, I know.
You really,
Not his, I know. I know for
you really do. But since I know he never got a date during that period. Kirsten was like the first woman who paid any attention.
That's okay.
Fortunately for him. What?
Practice being painfully shy right now.
Quit showing your lineage.
Yeah, your lineage is showing.
Hate it.
Yeah, we're just kind of rambling now, so let's
Hey,
go.
notice the complete armor at this
You
period.
don't miss this part of the talk.
Yeah, this
Wait,
is more armor.
We
than
did this
was required.
already. We're just repeating.